Alicia had whispered as she finished weaving the red ribbon into Wendy's braid. "Remember when your brother made his girlfriend watch that movie and we spied on them? The Godfather? It was all Don this and Don that, and he was a mob boss." She widened her eyes dramatically. "Just saying." Wendy had snorted with laughter and pulled her friend out of sight of the supposed mob boss. They'd giggled behind the dumpster, hiding from Don Leo, while the mouth-watering scent of tamales and Peruvian anticuchos flavored the bright summer night. Tom sat on the front stoop with his girlfriend, Gina, strumming his guitar. More neighbors found their way out to the street, unfolding their chairs under the fluttering paper banners. One of them joined in with the music from Tom's guitar, banging out a rhythm on a wooden box. Then someone started dancing, and soon everyone was in the road, their feet a blur of movement. Alicia grabbed Wendy's hand and marched her in a dramatic tango down the block until they collapsed on the curb to share a giant bowl of syrupy shaved ice. They squealed together when Don Leo caught them staring at him. But he smiled through the crowd, his cane swaying as it dangled from his arm, his trembling hand on Tia Ceci's shoulder as they danced across the pavement. The 4th of July firecrackers popped like stars in the darkening sky over their little street, a whole galaxy of cultures dancing in celebration of this country. It felt like light years ago. "I wish we were still in Melbourne." Wendy's voice was just loud enough for Tom to hear. He nodded, his eyes on their parents as Papa struggled with the rusty lock. "Yeah, well, they don't." Wendy bit her lip. Melbourne had been their home for half her life, ever since they had moved from South Carolina to the Midwest when she was 6. But over the past year, everything had changed. The tension crept in slowly, suffocating their whole apartment block. Kids stopped playing outside. Grown-ups peeked out the window before rushing to their cars for work. Neighbors stopped sharing gossip on the stoop. Entire families faded away. Besides, Melbourne sucked for middle school kid. Wendy looked at him, narrowing her eyes. "You did fine in middle school." "Sure, but I'm Torpedo Tom, track star." He grinned, stretching his arms out over the back of the couch. Even with the plastic crinkling every time he moved, he actually looked cool. Wendy wrinkled her nose. She'd been Torpedo Tom's sister all last year at Melbourne Middle. It was probably good that she wouldn't have to start 7th grade at a place where everyone was part of her big brother's fan club. She couldn't compete with his movie star looks. At least her grades were better than his. "Besides," he added, reading her mind, "you're too brainy for Melbourne. Genius Academy is way more your thing." She dug her elbow at him, and he yelped. "That's not what it's called. Anyway, I don't know anyone there." Wendy heard the whine in her voice and hated it. She kicked the ragged toe of her blue Converse sneaker against a crack in the uneven sidewalk. "Probably wouldn't know anyone back home either. Who knows if anyone's even left in Melbourne," she muttered at the ground. Tom's smile faded instantly. Wendy kept her eyes on the cracked cement. Neither of them had mentioned the raids for months, not since Papa sat them down and told them they were moving. He hadn't said why, and they hadn't asked. There were some things they all knew to avoid. The universe was full of asteroids and black holes and other things that could demolish the entire planet. But thinking about them wouldn't help. So her family stuck to their own safe orbit. According to Papa, that meant blending in. And what better place than Rouville, their new all-American neighborhood in Columbus, Ohio. Wendy made herself look up. The houses next to theirs were much nicer than the cramped apartments back